friends! Welcome to Science with Us. My name is Dr. Erica and I am so excited that you are joining us for the celebration of science and as we journey into the world and discover new things. We are doing all student-led passion projects as we learn, so this unit is our Indiana Jones unit. And if you are just joining us, you should check out our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to it and get notifications. And you can check out the projects we did last week for Indiana Jones, where we learned about if he really exchanged the golden idol for some sand, would it have worked? As we learned about density, we learned about the importance of the height of the Staff of Ra and the time of day of the Staff of Ra as we made our own sundial and our own Staff of Ra, and we also got to engineer a time capsule so that we could look back in time someday just like archaeologists do. And this week for Indiana Jones we have some amazing stuff up our sleeve. Today we are going to engineer some traps for Indiana Jones and learn about real world tomb traps that truly happened. And tomorrow we're going to go on a dig as we dig up some archaeology stuff. And then Wednesday, we're going to go over to Virginia, where they have some amazing images of them digging up things and the process of how archaeologists truly recover items as we go on our field trip. And then Thursday, we have our typical just Zoom room where we'll hang out and I'll find some other cool archaeology videos for us to share together. So that is what we have in store. Don't forget, everything is archived on YouTube. So if you miss something or you can't be here at the right time, you can always come back when it works for you. And that's especially true for today because we need to set up our project for tomorrow. We're going to make our archaeological dig site. So you might not have the stuff you need with you. All you need to do is come back to this video, fast forward through the first part until you get here, and you can make that with me sometime a couple hours before you plan on doing your actual dig, because it takes a little bit of time for this stuff to set up. All right, so I do want to tell you what you guys are going to need, both to set up your archaeological dig site and also to engineer our trap, so that you guys can go and grab those things real fast if you need to. So for our dig site, I have just a box of salt that is now out, so I just needed a box, to be honest. I've got some dirt from our yard. I have a little too much sand at the moment from the beach. This is from when we looked at that golden idol. And then I have the magic ingredient, which is some Plaster of Paris, and this is going to seal everything together nice and thick. And I have some items that I am going to dig up. So whatever items you choose, I figured it'd be kind of cool. Ancient civilizations, they use money in different ways. So I have some coins. Maybe they're engineering cool things. So I have like a little spring right here, some glass marbles, and then I took a really big shell and I just broke it into pieces because I thought that would be really fun to not only dig it up, but also try practicing how we can put those pieces together that we do dig up. So we need those items. I have a popsicle stick to stir and a little bit of water, and we will be building that first. I'll actually also need my pair of scissors. We'll be building that first so that you guys can get that sort of ready and setting for tomorrow. If you don't have that stuff, totally fine, don't worry. You just want to probably make it the night before, or maybe if you make it in the morning and we dig it in the afternoon, that will work for you too. And then for our engineering a trap, I have my trusty recycling bin. It's huge. It is not full today because we just got a recycling taken, but that's okay. I've got my building bin, so I have in here, I've got craft sticks, I have rubber bands, I have string and tape, I have hot glue sticks, all the things that I love to build with. And then I've got, just to give myself some scale, I have my Indiana Jones. It's going to be a Lego guy. And I decided I want some treasure, and this might be an obstacle. I'm not sure. We'll see. So that is what we need today. All right, so we will get started first by getting our archaeological dig site set up, because this is going to be for tomorrow as we dig things up. The first thing I want to do, and you might already have this done for you, especially if you have like a clamshell that you're going to use for your dig site, I need to cut the top off of this box. All right, so I'm just going to start by getting a nice big hole with my scissors in there, and then I can cut off what will be the top of my box. I didn't want to cut this top off just because I thought having this sort of amount as my dig site might not be enough. That's why I'm cutting off, I'm flipping my box to the side and cutting off what looks like the actual front of the box. So I'm just going to cut this off to make my dig site accessible. And if you find your box comes apart a little bit as you do this, you can always use some tape and tape it back together. That's totally fine. Mine's going to be a little bit deep, my box, and that's totally okay. You can make your dig site as deep or as shallow as you want. I could always just have sort of these extra walls in there, either for structure or maybe I decide I want to cut them down. That's okay too. All right, so the first part for me is I'm just going to clear out this extra salt that was in here. And now I have a beautiful box. It's nice and open. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add my equal parts. It's all dry right now. I can just dump in, doesn't have to be perfect, okay, my friends? You're just going to dump in equal parts of your sand, your dirt, and your plaster. I'm not going to dump all of my sand in because that would be a little too much sand. So I'll dump maybe about that much in. And then I'm also going to add my plaster into here. All right, so I have sort of like a 3-layer cake right now with dirt and sand and plaster. And I'm going to use my little popsicle stick. I'm just going to mix it all up. All right, and interestingly, I'm noticing for some reason, I have a lot of little beads that were in my plaster already. That'll be fun. It'll be extra things for me to dig up. So you can see as I'm mixing it, it gets sort of this awesome look, just like it's almost real earth, which is going to be great for our dig site. And tomorrow we'll learn how to set up our dig site with some string and how we can actually make sure that we log everything properly, because we don't want to be a tomb raider. We want to be an archaeologist, right? All right, so I'm just going to keep mixing this really good. And then when it's all mixed up and ready, what I can do is I can add the pieces I wanted to hide. Now, if you really don't want to know where they are, because we're going to mix some more. So if you don't want to know where they're going to be, you could add them now, and as you mix it, they'll go into a different spot. If you want to know where they'll be, you could add them later. I'm going to add some of my items now. I'm going to wait to add my broken shell, because I think that will be really fun to have it sort of all of the pieces by each other like it broke over time. So I'm just going to mix those items in. You can see there's some other cool things that we'll get to discover tomorrow, which I think is fun. Now we're going to add our water. So you're going to add about the same amount of water that you added before, and you're going to make it into a nice thick paste. All right, so we'll stir this up as we go, and it's going to make a nice thick paste. You don't want to put your hand in this and just hold it there, because plaster of Paris with water, it's actually called an exothermal reaction. It will get nice and warm, and it will actually get a little too hot for your skin if you just plunk your skin in there. All right, so I'm just adding some water to make it into this nice thick paste. Nothing has to be perfectly precise here. I'm just going to make sure that I get it all mixed in, so I don't want any dry spots for the water. All right, I'm going to mix it up really good.
Can you tilt that up for us so we can see what it's starting to look
like?
like?
This is what it's starting to look like. It's really thick right now, and I'm totally okay with that. Thick is not bad. So I have this guy looking like that. There's some dry stuff on the bottom still, so I might actually add a little bit more water to get that dryness off the bottom. And you might be saying, Dr. Erica, we're in a cardboard box and we're using water. But this is all going to set up really thick, so I'm not too worried about that. If you're really worried about it, you can always use a plastic box or like a wood box. All right, so I have this. Is just about kind of what we want. It's very thick. It's not super thin, and that's sort of what we want, because it's gonna dry. The plaster of Paris and the water are gonna have a great reaction. It's gonna dry nice and thick for us.
So all your objects are hidden in there now?
All of our objects are hidden except for my broken shell, and that was because for my broken shell, I wanted these pieces to be close to each other. So I'm just gonna come in here. Whoops! I've got a lot of stuff to dig up tomorrow, and I can just press in these shells a little bit. Sort of like this.
Now, if you had extra time, you could even do layer upon layer. So you could wait for this to dry, and then you could layer another piece on it if you wanted to, which would be really cool. All right, so I'm just going to now sort of, they don't have to be fully covered up, but I'm going to kind of push them in and cover them up a little bit for us, just for the sake of digging things up. And maybe as an archaeologist, I don't know what these things might be. All right, so I'm just gonna let that be like that. You can give it a few nice taps to sort of make it nice and even on that surface. I'm noticing I have some dry spots for my plaster of Paris as I'm doing that, so I'm gonna mix those up a little better. And then I've got this beautiful dig site. So tomorrow we're gonna actually dig this up. It'll be all hard. We'll use like a screwdriver and some paintbrushes to like sort of chisel away at this and see how good we can. Like, I'm gonna hope that when I dig up this shell and use my screwdriver chisel, I don't break it. Because an archaeologist would go through a lot of training to make sure they don't break things, but we don't have as much training. All right, so we're gonna set this aside for later on tomorrow. Now again, if you don't have that stuff with you right now, no big deal. You can totally get all of your things together and do this later on in the day. Like I said, all of our YouTube videos, they're archived, so you can go back in time and you can watch it, you can speed up and check out what we do for that moment. All right, so now we are going to engineer a trap. So I hope you guys have your engineer hats on. You're gonna think creatively, and it's like a go big or go home moment. I mean, we really want to make some interesting traps, and we're going to learn as I build about some of the traps that we truly found in real tombs, so that people, ancient civilizations, thought, this tomb is really precious to me. How can we protect it? And just like we see in Indiana Jones, they built traps. All right, so the first thing whenever we have a challenge is we are going to brainstorm and draw it out. All right, so I want you to put your thinking cap on and think about what sorts of traps do we want, and we can draw it out. So I know that I need like a floor for my Indiana Jones. I need a temple, so I need a floor. I'm thinking of traps. I think I'm gonna add actually sort of a false floor. So this is gonna be like a pit of despair. I wonder if I can fit that all in. Pit of despair. Despair. Ooh, I don't know how to spell that. A-I-R, I think. And it might have some like sharp things that come up or something. And so this would be here. I would have a false floor. Notice that I'm labeling things. And that's really important because that will help me when I go back, right? So when I go and build this, I know, if I take this part out, I'm going to need to replace it with something that we could fall through. And maybe I have some sort of like a fake wall, or maybe I have something that's going to fling something with, or maybe I put webs. Maybe I can put some webs. So maybe like my Indiana Jones has to go through like a stringed web, right? And it's like super gross, and maybe there's a couple of them and people might get like trapped between them, and then they might like just not make it ever to the treasure. So I think I might do some of that.
How big is your person, do you think?
My person is going to be like the size of a Lego guy. So the pit of despair, it probably needs to be kind of deep. Or maybe I just make it something that he falls through and falls on spikes. Sort of depends what I have inside of my building pile on what I can build with, and that's okay. So this might be like some sort of like a stringy mess. A stringy, S-T-R-I-N, stringy mess. I really want to use something with a rubber band. I'm not sure what I'm going to use with a rubber band. I mean, I think a rubber band would be really cool. So maybe I put, let's see, the rubber band could be like maybe preloaded, and it could flap and it could smack him if he touches the wrong thing. So maybe I have some sort of like a rubber band, and maybe on a top view, I have like a rubber band that's like that, and whatever is holding this is like attached to something. So if he steps on it, this goes and it smacks him. That could be cool. It might need to be a little closer. So I'm thinking this would be like a rubber band type of a thing. I'm gonna put rubber band on here. I'm so sorry for my writing. It's really hard to write upside down. All right, so those are a couple things that I want to do. And then I want to make a plan for how I'm going to do this. So the first thing I need to like find a floor, because I need to find some way to make my project portable so I can show everybody and I can move it when I need to move it. And then I think I'm going to make the pit of despair next. I'm going to make the pit next. So once I find my floor, I can start looking through and seeing what would make a good pit and how could I make it. Then I think I'm going to make my stringy mess, and that string, I think I'm going to use popsicle sticks. I think that'll work really well. So string with popsicle sticks. And maybe you have to get through that to get to the false floor, I'm not sure. Then I'll have to spend some time thinking about that rubber band trick, and I'm not sure about that. And if you don't want to build out of things in your recycling bin, you could build out of something you love to build with. Maybe Legos. Maybe you love Minecraft and you want to build a really cool tomb in Indiana Jones in Minecraft and make all of the cool traps in that. And you can show somebody like, oh, look at this trap. It's going to be like this. So there's a lot of ways that you can engineer something. It doesn't always have to be with a recycling bin. All right, so this is gonna be my plan. I'm gonna find a floor, I'll figure out my pit, I'm gonna do the string popsicle thing. I'm saving the rubber band for last. That's gonna be like the hardest thing I think to do. But I do have a plan. Notice I have a plan, but as an engineer, I know that this might not go according to plan. A lot of times that I build something, it doesn't quite go according to plan. And that's okay. I have not pre-planned this because I want you guys to see that I will fail. Something won't work and I'll have to problem solve through it. So I don't even know what I'm gonna make right now. And I think that makes it a little easier for you guys to see me also struggle, because we all struggle with engineering challenges. And the name of the game is not getting something right the first time or even the second time. The name of the game is sticking with it until we get what we're going for. Maybe that means modifying our expectations, but maybe it just means keeping to try on new things, and that's all awesome. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is make a false floor. I think I'm going to use this as my flooring so I can build my whole project on this awesome egg crate. And this false floor is a real thing. So in Egypt, they actually, when they had tomb raiders, they actually made some tombs with these 20-foot pits and false floors. So people who would try to go and get the treasures would not know about the false floors. They would run and go through the false floor. If you didn't have a friend, you were 20 feet down, you couldn't get out. So that was a problem with a capital P. And they paid the locals to redo the false floors every time, which I think is really interesting. Like as a local, be like, oh, somebody just fell through the false floor. We're just gonna wait, and in a few months we'll just go back in there and rebuild it. I don't know. That would take some guts. All right, I'm looking at what I might have to build a pit. We ate some raspberries recently. This one I'm going to use. This one's a little deeper. So I could make myself, this could be my pit. Ooh, and the raspberries, oh, it looks like blood. That's perfect. Somebody can fall into my pit of despair and truly be in despair. I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to actually, I think, trace around this pit. I think I might put it, let's see. I think when I want him to come in, I want to come in maybe here and go through the stringiness. And then maybe it turns and we go into our pit of despair. So I'm going to trace around this. And I'll just sort of cut out a hole for this to sit in. So it's truly is going to look like a false floor for me, which is I think going to be really cool. It's a little tricky to cut out, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to cut that out just like that. And again, I'm just going to start in the middle. I'm going to make a big snip in the middle of that hole so that I can come on through and cut this out. Sometimes when it's hard to cut, you can actually cut yourself a hole first, and that will make it a little easier. So I sort of have this hole now, and I can try to cut in here. A little tricky cutting this egg carton. That's okay though. I am not worried. I think if anything, we can open it up a little bit more, or if we cut too big and it's too big for the item, we can use some tape. So there's always a way to solve problems as long as we stay calm. So usually when we get really upset that our project's not working, that becomes really hard to actually make that project truly work, even if we were really close beforehand. All right, I almost have this cut out. We will see what else we have here. You know, another really cool problem that sometimes we see in Indiana Jones is the collapsing tomb. And I am willing to bet the people who wrote Indiana Jones got that idea from the real world, because in Cambodia, there was a collapsing tomb. So people were trying to take out a really cool piece of like a Buddha statue, and they started taking out some pieces of it, and it turns out the whole thing was filled with sand, and so the sand started to come out where they took out the pieces, the blocks, and the whole thing crumbled, which is kind of a bummer, but it is what it is, I guess. All right, you'll notice I made my box way too big. That's okay. I am going to just tape it or glue it in place. I'm gonna look in here. I think actually my tape is behind me, my trusty masking tape. I'm gonna just start by taping this in. Notice I'm not worried about it at all. I'm just gonna tape this in like this, and you know what? Maybe that tape, maybe it's gonna work out in my favor, because that's gonna make it like really look like that floor is coming up. My Indiana Lego guy is not going to see what is happening. Won't be as obvious maybe. And that is always the goal. I can't wait to see what you guys are making when we meet up in Zoom right after this. Then we can also see what you guys have been doing this weekend. I know it's a long weekend. Hopefully you guys have had a lot of fun. I'm sure everybody who started school recently needed the long vacation weekends. I know we did in our family. All right, so I think this is gonna be my awesome pit of despair. I am gonna go on the back side. I'm actually gonna add in some hot glue. Mainly because hot glue is my favorite thing, and it really adds a lot of stability to your project, so it really helps things stay in place. Oops, that's not quite ready for one. And sometimes the things that might frustrate us the most is that we are so close to having something work, and then it just keeps sort of breaking away. And that can happen if we're not using always the right building material. So I'm just gonna make sure that this tape and the plastic are actually also glued together. I'm just gluing around this to make sure that they get sort of stuck together really nicely. And I can even have that glue go onto the egg crate as well. I love egg crates. They're such a great thing to build out of. They're a lot of fun. And definitely keep your guys' recycling bin handy. If you've been with us over the spring and the summer, you know that we use so much in our recycling bins. It's really quite important. We use them a lot. Because it's such a great way to reuse something. Everybody has a recycling bin. And it truly forces you to think outside of the box, because you might be like, oh, Dr. Erica's using an egg crate. Perfect, I'll do that. And you might not have an egg crate. And that's totally okay. You just have to think of something else that's different. Maybe a cereal box will work for your Indiana Jones pieces. It's always a little tricky, but it ensures that we all have something different. All right, so I've got my pit of despair glued in. Doesn't feel very much like despair right now, this pit. I feel like I need something else in it. I think I'm gonna add some craft sticks that I am gonna cut to make like pointy items. I think my pit of despair needs to be a little pointier, right? Like you fall into the pit of despair and maybe you're just like skewered like a kebab. So I'm gonna cut a few of these to skewer my Indiana Jones, which I think will be great if I can cut them without losing too many of them. There we go. Just came right back at me. All right, so I have a couple of these. We'll just break that one. And now I can use my glue gun and I can add a bunch of glue and just sort of stick these in, which will be fun. I think that'll be really cool. Ooh, that one might be a little tall. That's okay. Maybe it'll be like some sort of decoration later. We'll see. It comes out of my pit of despair. But maybe it just looks like it's like a button he has to push. So he thinks he's got to like walk over here and push some button over here and then, oh, no, it's a false floor. That sounds pretty great to me, actually.
Dead.
Yeah. Too bad that wasn't the right button, my friend. Try again. Oh, except for you can't try again. Oh, that's why we shouldn't be Tomb Raiders. Alright, so I'm just going to glue some of these in. Again, you can add any fun little pieces you want. I'm going to have some big ones and some little ones. In Indiana Jones, one of the booby traps has like a ton of snakes. So you could add play snakes if you wanted to. You could add all sorts of things. Alrighty. So my pit of despair has some sticks in it. One of them definitely sticks out. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. I am going to make it so that you walk in and you think you've got to like press this to open up a door. But by getting over to here, you're actually totally stuck.
Where's your little Lego guy? Maybe.
Here's my little Lego guy. So if he falls in, I mean, I guess my little Lego guy can still get out. Ooh, but maybe I make it so that like this is a trap also and it like traps you in. Ooh, I like that. That's kind of cool. All right, let's do that. So what I'm going to do, maybe I shouldn't have cut that off, but that's okay. I'm not too worried. Sometimes when we're engineering, we're just sort of on the fly. I'm going to tape this part here. I'll just tape it to like that, and I have my nice little hinge. So fast. Boop. All right, but I need a way for that to close on it. How will I make that close? Maybe this is my chance to use like a rubber band. Like maybe I have this tied over here and tied here. Let's see, like that. And then if I would imagine that it would sort of pull it if these were tied. And maybe I keep it open by something.
You have a trap holding it open, like a piece of stick
Yeah.
holding it open.
And then when he like sort of crosses that stick, the clamshell's shut on him. I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. So I am going to tie it through one of the holes. Tie my rubber band through there. And, ooh, you know what? I'm thinking I might tie it actually on one of these holes that are closer. It just seems like it's a little too pulled. I don't want it to be so pulled. All right, let's try here. And I did notice this last time when I pulled on it, the rubber band came out. My little knot came out. So what I'm going to do, I'm still going to tie my knot and I'm going to add some glue. Because when in doubt, glue could be your best friend. Just like that. We'll let that dry for a moment. And then I'm thinking, all right, how do I keep this open? Evan mentioned maybe I have like a stick that holds it open that he sort of moves and it like forces it shut. So maybe like this is the stick and that falls. Ooh, yeah. That's cool. Yes. And maybe this stick is actually here on the inside. So when he goes to press it, he knocks the stick out and it falls. Yes. It's beautiful. That is beautiful. All right. So what I need is I need to make sure that this is going to be wanting to clamp down. That's going to be a little trickier because hot glue might not hold this as well as I'd like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some hot glue here. I'm going to also add in a piece of popsicle stick across it. So not only is the rubber band glued in place, I'm going to put a piece of rubber band that's glued across that little guy, just like that. And then I could even probably keep gluing this rubber band in place. Just like that. All right. Oh no! My tape is not strong enough. Interesting. We can fix that, I think. We'll have to fix it somehow. I'm going to need to wait for this, though. Oh, that makes me sad that I cut it. That would have been perfect. that's okay. Maybe it's just a little too tight. Maybe we'll let it go a little. 'Cause it doesn't have to like snap shut super fast. And then let's see.
Yeah, you want it to be like a slow motion so he has time to escape potentially.
Do I? Do I want Indiana Jones to escape? I don't know. I mean, he's kind of taking my precious heirlooms, which I don't really have any of, so they're super precious. I don't know if I want him to escape with my awesome dust bunny mothballs. I'm not sure. I mean, isn't the whole point of this to not let him escape? I kind of feel like it is.
I don't know. It's like a video game. You gotta like different levels.
True. Okay. Evan has a good point. That is true. We do want some successes, I guess. All right. I'm going to put that on there like that. And let's see. Maybe if we hot glue this stuff together, it'll be a little better. Let's add some hot glue underneath the tape, maybe. Just like that. That might help it. We'll find out. And while that's drying, this is going to be my little guy that sticks up. Ooh, no, it's still not happy. Let's see. Maybe I let it dry like this. We'll see. Okay. Now I also want to make that stringy mess that you have to like sort of climb through. If you had like those creepy spiders from Halloween, those would be so perfect to put on like the creepy mask, because maybe there's like human-sized spiders that love to live there. Ooh, that sounds terrifying. All right, my hands are sadly taken up right now though by waiting for this glue to dry. And I'm a little worried that if I let go, it won't dry properly. So I'm gonna hang out for a second. I will get my string stuff out. I have a whole bunch of string. Maybe I just like sort of build it around some, just like, I'm just gonna hot glue that string to a couple pieces of popsicle stick, and I think that's gonna be like what it is for me. Whatever you decide, totally fine. I think it would be super spooky though to walk into a temple that you're trying to like steal stuff from and then like all of a sudden meet up with like life-size spiders. That sounds horrifying to me. Some of you guys might love arachnids and that's not the most terrifying thing to you, and that's okay. Maybe use something different. I don't know. Maybe fireflies terrify you. And then human-sized fireflies would be even worse. All right, I'm gonna just grab some of this string like this, and I'm gonna glue it across these two pieces. So it's like this like gross mesh of string that I'm gonna put these really big spiders on. And those spiders are gonna be so hungry. They're gonna be ready to eat somebody. Yes, they've had like hundreds of years to like wait for some food to come in, which is why their web is so big. Perfect. You can see whatever you want. It's totally fine. It does not have to be perfect. And in fact, your imagination is going to make it even better. All right, so I've got that. Just glue that onto the sticks. Oh, this looks great. Like, I don't know about you, but if I saw like some giant spider web, this is giant. Where's my little Lego guy? Where did you go, Indy? Like, what if you walked into a room and this was the size of the spider web? I personally would go the other way. There's no chance I am personally gonna like be like loop-de-doo-de-doo and like try to get myself through the spider web. Zero chance for me. Maybe you're more of an Indiana Jones person and you like a little more terrifying adventures with arachnids. You know, to each their own. To each their own. I'm gonna put this in and I can just add some glue. This is kind of perfect because I have these little, all these tiny little pits that's holding up my floor. I can just glue this in. I love that. It like forces Indiana into certain spots too. So that's going to be handy.
It's coming together nicely.
It is. I feel like it is. And I am really excited to see what you guys are building too. Engineering challenges are like some of my favorites because everybody makes something different. Everybody learns some sort of different tool that day or some sort of different skill that day. So I think they're super useful and really interesting. And I also love just seeing everybody's the different things we make. And I decided I had wanted 2 of these, so I'm going to make a second one. Because why not? That looks horrifying to me, I won't lie. Like, I am not going in here anymore. 0 chance. I mean, maybe this little bead that happens to be on here is like somebody else's hand that the spiders were like, have been like leaving their extra tasty little morsel. Oh, gross. I think there are like big spiders in some Indiana Jones. I mean, it seems like a great trap, right? Like, here, little spiders. You just hang here and keep all the bugs away from my treasure. And while you're at it, make sure you also eat anybody intruding. It would be great. It would be good. I think one of the most clever types of protecting tombs that I've ever seen or ever heard about, real life way to protect a tomb, right here. This happened, I think it was the Mayans. And the Mayans, in their culture, red was like a really special color. Red was a color, sort of like purple for the Greeks, where it was like a nobility color. And some people who died would actually paint their bodies with something very specific that was red, and it was a neurotoxin. So a neurotoxin is something that basically is like poison for your brain, and it makes your body not remember how to do the things your body normally remembers how to do. Like, I don't think about breathing, I just do it. I don't think about blinking, I just do it. I have to think to move my arm, but like, it's not like I'm thinking of what muscles I have to use, I just sort of move my arms, right? Well, a neurotoxin makes all of that no longer happen. And so some Mayan tombs, they actually painted the bones with this neurotoxin that was red, and it seeped into all of the jewelry, which is super cool if you think about it, because then if anybody touches either the bones in the tomb or the jewelry, they die. Which almost happened to the archaeologists that discovered this. They had to have some really quick thinking, and they recognized it, thankfully, and they were able to make sure that everybody was safe and healthy and did not die when they opened up this tomb, because they had no idea it was even booby-trapped for them, which I think is really cool. That is like, I thought that was very clever. It's a clever way to make sure people don't steal your stuff.
Or if they get it, they pay for it.
Exactly. If they get it, they're not getting back out, right? They're just gonna like die grasping the pearls. All right, so right now my Indy, he's got to go through like, this terrifying thing. We're gonna pretend there's walls here. So Indy has to go through this terrifying thing, and then he's got to like press something but not get trapped in here. And then what was the other thing I wanted? Well, I have the rubber band in here now. I've got my rubber band thing. So maybe I just need my treasure. Maybe I just need something awesome as my treasure. So this was gonna be my treasure. And what do I want to make my tomb out of? Ooh, we could like glue it to this. It could look like a cool hanging piece. I like that. That would be cool. And maybe I make it so that you have to like go through even more stuff after you have the treasure. That seems cruel. But also, I mean, come on. Indy, stop raiding those tombs. I'm going to use some more of these to hide the treasure. So like maybe you can only see the treasure from one little angle, and he wouldn't see it when he walked in.
You could use the staff of Ra to like shine on
Good, yes. That would be perfect, except for I don't have the staff of Ra on me. I'm not sure where I put my sundial. It's out telling the time right now. That's probably what it's doing. All right. These are going to be like huge boulders though. Indy has to climb some huge boulders. Oh, I should make this taller actually. Let's make it into like a mountain. Yes. It's going to be like a mountain he has to climb to get the golden little item. And I'm just like ripping and gluing right now.
Best part.
I know. And like these egg cartons, I mean, they really come in handy. I'm really kind of a big fan of what you can make with them, which is super cool. All right, so we're just gonna build this up. And maybe even in here, I'll put some snakes. Yes, I'm gonna have snakes in there. Oh, I really wish I had like little tiny snakes.
Indy hates snakes.
Indy hates snakes. Oh, that's perfect. Snakes can go in and out of all these little cracks that we're making in these boulders. And he's gotta climb it. You gotta face your fears. You want that gold marble. You gotta face those fears. Ooh, that sounds terrifying.
I feel like we
do
need
not
to
like it.
choreograph a
stop
action
motion.
scene with Indy going through this.
Yes, we do. We need a stop motion video of Indy going through here. All right. I think that's probably tall enough, so we'll just add this on top. That is super cool. Oh, I really love how that came out.
Can you turn it a little bit so we can see your
Yes, let's see.
mountain masterpiece?
The mountain masterpiece. It needs a little bit more glue maybe, but it's a little unstable.
Ooh.
So we've got snakes in there, and maybe it could just like start falling boulders, and it would cover up this one, just like the one in Cambodia where you started taking out the blocks and sand started seeping out and it just sucked in the idol. That'll be amazing. Perfect. Perfect. Not only do we have snakes, if you step on it wrong, it collapses and it hides your little golden treasure.
Forever.
Yes, forever. Forever. I mean, it didn't hide the one in Cambodia forever, but it hid it for like 1,000 years, so that works for me.
Do you have enough egg carton left to disguise the top of the lid? So that
Oh,
they won't
here?
know? No,
Ooh.
the
Oh,
trap
this
door.
part. Ooh, I love that. That's a good idea. I mean, I could just cut some egg carton out of this. We'll just do that. I like that. Sometimes working in teams, you really get better ideas. You really think through things. You see things in a different way. I could even just like that. Is that what you're thinking, Evan?
It's
Oh yeah, look at that. We are super disguised.
No one will know it's a raspberry container.
Yes. It's super sneaky. Let's see if we can get it on there. This is why I love glue sticks though. It's just like glue and press. And for our littler hands, know that you can always get low temperature glue guns. It still will hurt me if I were to touch the metal part and if I were to just squeeze glue on my hand. But this glue that comes out is not boiling hot. It's just like hot. It doesn't like blister burn you immediately. It'll still burn you. You still have to be careful, but low temp is like my favorite for younger kids. And I have kindergartners who regularly use glue guns. So this is like a staple in my in-person classes. This is like the thing we use. All right, there we go. And a nice big thing. This is gonna get put together with this guy, just like that. So when Indy comes in, it'll snap shut on him. Perfect. Minus the fact that this is not sticking. Let's try gluing. Instead of gluing on this, I'm gonna try gluing on the raspberry container maybe. Maybe that was the problem. There's a bunch of holes on this raspberry container. And if this doesn't work, I could maybe just try tape. Sometimes glue is not the best answer, even though if you come to my classes, you'd be like, but Dr. Erica, hot glue is not the answer? How's that possible? And I would be like, I know, right? I love hot glue. All right, let's try that. Let's see if that helps. Glue it down better. All right. Now, oh, I had this boulder that I kind of wanted to like fall down too. Maybe I just like precariously set it up here. And so Indy like steps wrong. Boom. Yes, that looks good. Like maybe I just actually.
Maybe you can just with a slight dab of tape.
Glue? Oh, tape?
Oh, make like a tape
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 ball.
nest.
A tape nest. Okay, we'll make a tape nest. Like a sticky side out tape nest even?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, just like crumple this up. And we'll put it right. And I think I want it like right when he touches this, right? Just like, when he touches it and it'll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that looks
Destruction.
good. Yeah, total destruction. Because when he moves this to get this out, it's going to be like, yes! Yes, that's going to be perfect. All right. We can only reset this so many times. It is
Too many
not
times.
unlimited reset like it was with the, was it the Egyptians who had the false floors reset every time by
Did they?
locals? Which I think is cool. I mean,
we are the locals.
what is, like, what, I want to know that job description. All right, so here we go. We've got it. Indy's going to come through, accidentally maybe hit this. It'll snap shut on him. He'll die. Maybe he gets eaten by these spiders or, like, tangled. I can't get out. Oh, no. I'm upside down. So, like, that looks hard to get through, actually. And then he might come here and get slammed. I'm dying. And if he makes it past here, he might get up here and he, like, has a snake. Oh, I hate snakes. They're terrible. Or, like, maybe it all, like, boom on him. Or maybe he finally gets it. Yes! And then boom. Beautiful.
And then he's got to get back out.
And he's got to, yeah, so you still have to get back out. So you still have to get through everything all over again.
It's really funny that marble looks like it has super glowy eyes.
Yes.
In this angle.
Perfect. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I need a new tape trap.
We need reset.
Bring the locals in. Reset the tape trap. beautiful. We'll just stick it like that. And there is my Indiana Jones engineering a trap. I made a few traps because I thought that was fun. But again, if you don't like building with some of these materials, you can build with something you love. You can make an amazing Lego trap. That is like an all-day activity right there. If you ask me, because I could sit with Legos for hours on end. You could make an awesome Lego trap. You could have trap doors. You could have things that swing. You could have those little strings that, they usually put on the fire trucks to move something. You can make tracks on the Legos that are spaced so the marbles go through and wipe Indiana out. You could build it in Minecraft. If you really love the computer and Minecraft is totally your jam, you could build it with Minecraft and even tell your parents like, Mom, Dad, Dr. Erica said I could engineer something on Minecraft. However, if you play that card, you have to show me because I want to see it. And I have to get like a little video walkthrough of your Minecraft traps. And they have to be really good because you could I have learned in Minecraft, if you put the lava block in the water, it'll heat up the water. So I want cool things. I want the cannons that will shoot when something happens if you're doing it in Minecraft. But if not, you can also build it with this. And it is equally as awesome because you get to go through it. And I kind of want to take a stop motion with snakes coming out and whatnot. It would be really cool. We might have to try. We're not stop motion professionals, but that's okay. So I do want to say thank you so much for joining us today as we walked through this engineering challenge together. I know yours is going to look totally different. I know your obstacles will be totally different than the ones I had, but hopefully helping you see how I solved the problems and didn't get discouraged and just kept trying will help you do the same for whatever you make. And I definitely want to see either videos or pictures of what you make because everybody's is amazing and these happen in the real world. This is not some random thing. There are totally tombs out there. There's one in China that people are too scared to go into. Today, they are too scared. They think there are automatic crossbows. It's on a lake of mercury. They are terrified of what might have happened if they went into this tomb to go see what can this tomb tell us about the history and about what life was like. And the person who died then was like, you get to know nothing. I'm gonna kill you if you come in. And it's legitimate. Some archaeologists are like, well, the crossbows probably don't work anymore. And others well, maybe they do. Who wants to try out? Not me. So hopefully this gives you some enthusiasm for learning about archaeology and why some people protect their tomb. Because if we find a tomb, we really want the archaeologists to come out and learn about the history and share it with the world versus looters who will come out of it and sell it to somebody's private collection and it will just sit in somebody's living room forever as a story that only maybe 10 people hear and not the whole world. And learning about our history as a world is really, really important. And tomorrow we will learn, as this guy dries, we will learn about how to dig up an archaeological site and how we would track where things are and try to put things together and learn about that. So I'm super excited for tomorrow as well. And make sure, again, you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can always support us and join our Zoom party over at patreon.com/RosieResearch. Tell all your friends we will be here for 2021. I'm super excited. And if you have a passion project you want to learn about, let us know because we are here to help you guys learn about the things you love to do. All right, I'm going to say goodbye to my YouTube family and hello over to my Zoom friends as we get to experience the world of your own Indiana Jones traps. So have a great afternoon and enjoy the rest of your Monday. Bye.